Hey everyone, it's Pastor Paul Krampitz. I'm coming to you from my study here at Bethany Lutheran Church in Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome again. Thanks for being with us. We continue our journey through Luther's Small Catechism as we begin the section on the Apostles' Creed. The Creed is really kind of the heart of Luther's Small Catechism, coming after the commandments. As I've mentioned before, the commandments are sort of the diagnosis of what's wrong with us, our failure to live according to the way that God would have us live. So we need to go to the doctor. And the doctor is, of course, God, the great healer. And so the three articles of the Apostles' Creed correspond to the three persons of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So allow me just to read the article itself and then Luther's explanation and then add a few reflections of my own. The first article, I believe in God the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. What is this, right? Or what does this mean in some translations? I believe that God has created me together with all that exists. God has given me and still preserves my body and soul, eyes, ears, and all limbs and senses, reason, and all mental faculties. In addition, God daily and abundantly provides shoes and clothing, food and drink, house and farm, spouse and children, fields, livestock, and all property, along with all the necessities and nourishment for this body and life. God protects me against all danger and shields and preserves me from all evil. And all of this is done out of pure, fatherly, and divine goodness and mercy, without any merit or worthiness of mine at all. For all of this, I owe it to God to thank and praise, serve and obey him. This is most certainly true. Wow, Luther says a lot there. So in some catechisms, the first article is called the article on creation. And Luther, of course, begins there that God is the creator not only of us, but of all that exists. And then in classic Luther fashion, he expands on this. Not only does God create, it's not a past tense event. The God not just one who created, but who continues to sustain daily and abundantly, providing all the things that we need for this life. Not just enough, but an abundance of what we need. And why does God do this? It's not because we are particularly worthy. God does this out of pure, fatherly, and divine goodness and mercy. It's about who God is and what sort of God God is, and not about how worthy we are. And because God has been so good to us, Luther says, for all of this, I owe it to God to thank and praise, serve and obey him. This is most certainly true. Well, this is a stewardship message too, isn't it? That the one who gives us all that we have and gives it as gift, not something that's earned, because of that, our response ought to be thanking and praising God, serving and obeying him. And so how do we do that? How do we serve God? How do we obey God? Well, the commandments are right there. We serve God by serving our neighbor. We receive these gifts so that we can be good stewards or managers of these gifts and use them for God's good purposes. First commandment is certainly about creation and God, the source of all creation, but it also speaks to the very nature of God as being good and merciful, one who wants to provide, and it speaks to the very nature of our relationship with this God. As ones who have received so much, God calls on us to give and to share, to thank and praise, serve and obey. This is most certainly true. Until next time, Pastor Paul saying goodbye and God bless.